Crypto Business Podcast brought to you by Token Minds. I'm your host, Garam, director at Token Minds, a full-service crypto agency that provides marketing, development, and strategy services for blockchain and NFT projects. In this podcast, we will discuss any blockchain topic that is relevant for businesses and entrepreneurs. Today, we're going to talk about how to develop your NFT smart contract. I have in the podcast with me George and Hemang. George is an experienced blockchain development manager working on various NFT projects. And Hemang is a junior blockchain developer, which is involved in a lot of testing of smart contracts. So George, let's start with you. What kind of things do projects need to keep in mind when developing their NFT smart contract?
Yep. First of all, thank you for having me here, Rob, again. This is our second episode together. So I will just give some insights to the audiences and our listeners and our viewers about NFTs. But first of all, before anyone would start developing an NFT, they need to determine the blockchain where they will want to mint their NFTs. Honestly, there are dozens of blockchain out there, and I'll just dive into the most popular ones, namely Ethereum, Polygon, and Solana. First one is Ethereum. Of course, this is the most famous blockchain globally for NFTs and smart contracts in general. Because of its high adaptability, it has high liquidity and higher number of developers who has knowledge in creating smart contracts. So most of the time, if businesses or entrepreneurs would like to build an NFT, it will be easier to find developers who are adept in working on smart contracts based on Ethereum. However, the problem with Ethereum is it has slow processing that can only handle 15 to 35 transactions per minute. Thus, this will incur higher gas fees and transaction fees. So, since it has higher gas fees and transaction fees, most of the time it's not profitable for low-cost transfers, which makes small-time NFT reselling and flipping not that profitable. Most of the time, people who are investing in reselling NFTs needs to have at least $1,000 to $2,000 to make it profitable because of the gas fees in Ethereum. Second popular one is Polygon or Matic, which is basically has the same pros as the Ethereum network because it's basically an Ethereum level layer 2. However, with the lower gas fees, it's also highly dependent on Ethereum as in general. So if Ethereum loses values, if there are issues in Ethereum, Polygon will also have issues on its blockchain. The third one is Solana. This is a fairly new blockchain that promises to process around 65,000 transactions per second and low gas and transaction fees. Actually, there are developers and people who are adopting Solana at a fast pace. However, since this is a fairly new blockchain, it has low adoption rate and fewer developers. Thus, if you want to build something on Solana, you will have a hard time finding someone to build it for you. With low adoption rate comes with low liquidity. Aside from this, aside from finding the blockchain that you want to make an NFT, there are also
quick point about that. Sorry, Josh. So you mentioned about Solana, right? I think one thing that comes to mind with Solana that they actually had quite some outages, right? And they seem to keep coming back. So it is something a little bit more experimental right now, I guess. And Polygon, the other thing is maybe important for our listeners to know is that Polygon is similar to Ethereum in that people need to still pay gas fees. So they still need to have a certain amount of Matic coins in their wallet in order to mint or transfer their NFTs. So this is, like you mentioned, right, it's kind of a liquidity issue as well. Because most people will own Ethereum, and with Ethereum you can obviously transact and buy NFTs on the Ethereum blockchain. So I just wanted to mention it as well. But you wanted to say something else, right? So, sorry, please continue.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, Solana is fairly new blockchain and it's mostly on its experimental stage at least. Because when Ethereum started, it actually has faster transaction processes before. But since it's being adopted by millions of people right now, it slows down in terms of handling transactions per second. But with regards to this, they are promising Ethereum 2.0 in the future, which promises to reduce these gas fees issues for Ethereum, and hopefully it comes out anytime soon.
Right. Although in the end of the day, it's still a kind of like a market, right? So if there's more NFT projects, it will still drive up the gas fees in the end, I guess.
Yes, definitely. Okay. So aside from this, choosing your blockchain, you also have some third parties that you need to integrate with. Most of the time, those are marketplaces like OpenSea and Rarible, where if you integrate your NFT minting on those platforms, it will be easier for your community to sell and auction the NFTs that they minted using your smart contract. There are actually a lot of this marketplace out there, but I'll just leave it to the listeners to research about it. For smart contract development in general, this is done using Solidity for Ethereum and other
Oh, hold
Ethereum
on.
based
Sorry,
platforms.
there's one question about the marketplace as well, right? Yeah, like you said, this comes back to the liquidity as well. There is most liquidity definitely. If you look at trading volume, we are gathering some stats as well about this on a regular basis. And for sure, OpenSea has the best kind of trading volume.
Mhm.
Projects like Looks Rare and stuff like that, they are starting to kind of be more active, but there's a lot of wash trading because they have some incentivized programs there. And maybe
Yep.
also one other thing, maybe interesting to mention here, is the royalty function, right? You're probably going to mention this right now, but it links up to the marketplace as well, right? Because if you develop
Yeah.
your own NFT smart contract and don't use the minting function of those marketplaces, the royalty won't always work, right?
Yes, that's right. So it will depend on the marketplace that you will be integrating. So those are the pros and cons. It's actually a very broad topic that maybe we can discuss in the next episode. Yeah. So with this third party, you can start developing your smart contract using Solidity, mostly for Ethereum-based blockchains. There are important functions that you need to develop in your NFT. One of this is the airdrop, whitelist, and mint. So airdrop is basically free and allowing your community to get free NFTs for marketing purposes. These are basically for promotion. Whitelists are pre-approved, minting for early adopters and supporters like your investors. And then lastly, your mint. So basically, the public sale where people can mint their NFT at a specific price that you allow on the smart contract. So to wrap this up, I'll just show you a sample of a smart contract here. So you can see these are the functions that are usually in a basic NFT minting smart contract. You have your airdrop, burn. So basically, burn is putting the NFT on a known wallet where it will be rendered unusable. Mint for whitelist. So safe mint, safe transfer, basically allowing your smart contract to transfer one NFT to another wallet. Set fee, the fees for specific percentage for your charity, if you have charity, for royalty, etc. The price, you can actually change the price. That would be great if you have this function. And then
Just to clarify, only the contract owner can edit those functions, right?
yes, transfer ownership. If you kind of get tired of the NFT smart contract, you wanted to transfer it to one of your co-founders, you can easily transfer it if you have this function. And lastly, withdraw. So withdraw will allow you to basically get your Ethereum balance. So in this case, you have 0.3 Ethereum, and if you withdraw this will withdraw this to the wallets that you designated as your team wallet, charity wallet, and then they will just split it based on the percentage you set on the set fee. So NFT smart contracts is pretty broad topic, but hopefully I was able to give you guys some insights about it. But yeah, if there, I think Rob, you have still some clarifications with this, and I'll be happy to answer those.
Yeah, sure. So just for the listeners out there, Joshua is walking us through the Everscan UI of a particular smart contract. And this particular one has like 27 like editable functions. I guess like just a handful of those are actually must have, right, for the contract minting, and the other ones are really for special functionalities that you might want to consider as a project owner, like the royalty fee function or the whitelist function, airdrop function, etc. No, but I agree. We should probably have another podcast as well to jump into maybe particular functions about the development process. So let's move on to Hemang about the testing, because it's of course one thing to develop your NFT smart contract, but you want to make sure that it's fully tested and you want to use the right tools to test it before you deploy it on mainnet, especially when you use something like Ethereum, because it will cost you a lot of gas fees to deploy. But even if you use another blockchain, of course, it's immutable, so it will be quite some hassle if you do have to change it later. For example, this is what happened to CryptoPunks, and there was a little thing in the news about that last week, that there was some slightly shady things going on with their old smart contract because they have multiples as they needed to do an update later. So you want to prevent those issues. So, Among, maybe you can walk us through some of the testing process that one should apply when developing an NFT smart contract.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Rob, and thanks, Josh. That was a fantastic, explanation about the whole contract, like what it includes and what are the functionality it needs. So, to basically understand about the smart contract testing, we have to know these, like what functions are there in a contract. So now, like you might be wondering that its name is smart contract, so why does it even need to test it? So as you said that it's on the Ethereum blockchain. So once it is on the Ethereum blockchain, it is immutable. That means you cannot tamper with it. I mean, it's if it is gone out there on the mainnet, then it cannot be updated. Once a smart contract is deployed, it cannot be updated. Then if you encounter a bug or something in between or any vulnerabilities, then you might not be able to change it, and hence we really need to test it. Or if you if you encounter a bug, if the contract is there on the mainnet, then it's just better to call it a feature. That's not a bug, so that's a thing. So now, so to give what a smart contract testing is, we need to understand what tools can be used for the testing. So there are various tools which we can use. Some might say Truffle, some might say Hardened. So we'll dive deep into that one by one. Let's come to Truffle. Truffle is just a old school version, because you know the Solidity space and blockchain space, it's still very volatile. Every now and then it is changing. So the earlier developers, the older developers who have been doing smart contract development, they are really familiar with Truffle, and they use Truffle for the testing and deployment. And same goes to the Hardened. Audit, it's really, and it's a relatively new. It came after the Truffle, and it's a deployment environment which is used to compile, deploy, and test and debug your Ethereum, and and you can easily test it and run migrations. So, and the one thing best about Hardit is its documentation. Anyone can understand about the documentation, even a new developer. Like for example, people know how to write it, how to write the code, but some might not know how to do the testing part. So any newbie or rookie developer can just go through its documentation and learn easily. So you can say that it's really easy to adapt to the Hardit environment, and that's why Hardit is really good. So you can, and especially the documentation and even its Discord community. Any you have any queries, you can just go on the Discord, and within 2 or 3 hours they're going to solve it. Third one is Brownie. Brownie Brownie. It's a really cool thing because Brownie is integrated with the Python lovers, and Python lovers are gonna love Brownie. So what they can do is they can write the test in Ethereum, and they can run it on the Python. So it's a really cool tool to just test it and everything. But what we prefer is I usually prefer Harded development, because Harded is really cool to work with. Now comes the part where your contract is deployed. So there are two nets, as Josh was showing you. There are two test nets. One is a test net, and one is called mainnet. Mainnet is where you really deal with real Ethereum, and test net where you just deal with gas fees and all, which are not real. So it's better to deploy first on testnet, and after on testnet you have to just go through all the code, do a regression testing of all it, and just give it a good look. And what we do here is then we just write the code according to the transition that are most probably going to fail. Like if the address is not set, like if someone calls from a wrong address, if sale has already surpassed the sale, and if the maximum supply is not limited. So we do all these stuffs to just make sure, like once the contract is deployed on the mainnet, then it is not going to be changed. So deploying on testnet and doing a regression test, it's a very great way to overcome any kind of error and vulnerabilities that we are going to encounter in during the process. And if any issues are going to come, then it's just better to file it in a document and send it to your development team. So your development team might take a look onto it. And so like these kind of documents, I mean these kind of errors you won't be getting while you use truffle or hardened. So for these kind of errors, you really have to look it onto the testnet. So that's how the process works basically.
Okay, thank you so much, Hemang. I also think this is probably another topic in itself to go through, but we are out of time, so I want to thank you both. Really appreciate your time and sharing some information with all of us. And to the listeners, see you in the next couple of days when we are going to do another podcast about the news update in crypto. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. That was a great one. Bye.